We're recording.
Okay, we're live.
Okay. Hello, guys. Hello, Ramon and Chloe, my examiners. Today, I'm doing something which I actually like doing, talking about video games. This is my Yakuza video games. Like, you guys ask me all the time. You say, hey, Gavin, why is Yakuza set in Hawaii? Why are you a pirate? Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning, shall we? We got the main two factions here, okay? This is Japan, yeah? You got two factions. You got the Tojo clan. That's mainly in the west side of Japan, which is
Gavin,
covered
I
as...
think there's a problem with the
We're still on the
PowerPoint.
title screen, bro.
God's sake, 1 second.
Oh,
There we
it
go.
flashed up for a
Oh,
second.
there
There
we
it
go.
is.
We're good. Wait,
Are you
we're
there?
good.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
Sorry
not
for the
anymore. It's
technical.
not anymore.
One
It
second.
comes up for like a
What?
second every now and then for some reason.
Okay, 1 second.
Oh, but now it. Yeah, keeps
Sorry,
it
you might need to
classic.
fix that.
Leave it in not in presentation mode.
Yeah.
That works.
Okay, fine. Okay. So we
Yeah,
got the
this
main two factions here. We got the Tojo clan, which is the west side, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
The story, and then the east side, which is the Omi Alliance, and then you got the subsidiaries, which is the little picture on the left, on the right over here, which breaks down because the main clans, of course, you have like a subsidiary, so you have different families, that contribute to the main party per se, which is the clan. All right, so we start beginning. All right, this is Yakuza Zero. This is set in 19. Oh, I didn't put any dates, which may have screwed me over, but I was thinking of memory. I did this quite late. It was like 1990. You're still in the 90s. You got you mean Yakuza. So you got John Yakuza. You got the main guy, Kiryu Kazuma.
Yeah.
He's the main cover man. He's like the main protagonist that you follow. And then you have Jim Yakuza, who's Majima, who in the current game I'm playing as, who's like the, let's say, it's a good comparison, Batman and Joker. Let's just say that. Kiryu's Batman, Majima's Joker. And in this story, in the very beginning, they're all fighting over this empty lot, which is just fighting over that, which they all want to get to that lot. And then so the two protagonists have two different stories. It's split into you plays Kiryu for a bit, then you plays Majima, and then at the end, these two people in the background, they're very important to the empty lot. And this is mainly a Tojo clan conflict. And then we move on to the first game, which is Kiwami, Yakuza Kiwami. So you have the picture on the bottom right there is Majima now. He's gone through a bit of transformation, and now the picture on the right is the Millennium Tower, where you can play Yakuza Bingo. And the thing is, in Yakuza Bingo, something usually happens at Millennium Tower, and there's usually a traitor in the Tojo clan, which is it's a trend that goes on. And in this picture, you see we have Haruka, who's this little girl who basically is worth 10. Well, it's 10 billion. Basically, John Yakuza, Kiryu, he had a lover, and then their child is basically Haruka, and she stole all the money, and the Yakuza are looking for that, and it's still mainly a Tojo-kan conflict. And then you have John Yakuza's brother, Nishiki, who's like, all right, he basically murdered the Tojo clan's the big man, like the boss man. And he's like, okay, well, and then Kiryu has to go for the blame. So he goes to jail and he comes out and he's like, oh, my brother's changed. And he has to fight him at the end. That guy in the bottom right, he's important for later, but basically he kidnaps her. Yeah, that's basically Kawami. And then we go to Yakuza 2. This is basically the... Sorry, I'm looking at the title here. Basically, so this is the fucking second dragon, is it? I'm laughing at my own jokes. Anyway, this is the Yakuza 2. It's a set in Kansai. It includes the Omi Alliance for the first time. And it's set in Sotombori. And so you have the second dragon, who's in charge of the Omi Alliance. And then you have the Korean Mafia. Basically, this guy here, his name's Terada. He becomes the chairman at the very end of Kiwami. And then, this guy over here, Daigo, he's like, the son of the guy Nishiki kills. So Kiryu's gonna be like, I gotta get him to be in charge now. And then spoilers, I'm spoiling this one. Basically, he's secretly a Korean and wants to kill the Tojo clan, and she's like his love interest. That's a side story plot. Also, she's his brother, which is also a weird plot. Anyway, we have Yakuza 3, considered the worst one. Basically, in this one, Kiryu's like, all right, I'm basically going to retire from the Tojo clan. I don't care anymore. I'm going to live out in Okinawa and run an orphanage. So he has like 8 kids. The start is very, very slow, but the story's actually pretty not bad. And then you have these 5 images here. All of them are as you can see, it's Tojo clan infighting again. So we have, of course, Majima. He's changed, of course, and then you have these 4 guys here. They're all officers. Um, Basically, the guy in the middle, this guy here, he's like Kiryu's best. He's like his boss man. He's like, hello, boss man. He was in Zero. He's like his mentor. And then the other 3, he's part of the old party, his party still, but it's like little. And then he's like, I don't know what he is. He's like let's say he's portrayed as the gay lover of Taigo. But yeah, they all want to take control, and the Men in Black is the Men in Black image is there. It basically says they're like a side villain, like yeah, side clan area. They're just there in the story. And as we move on, we have now Yakuza 4. Now, in Yakuza 4, Kiryu is he gets introduced at the very end. You don't really see him. Tanimura, you don't need to worry about him. He only appears in this one game, which is very weird. So you want to focus mainly on Akiyama. He's the loan shark. He's like how do you say, the businessman. You play him in the first chapter. He does a little bit with the Yakuza. This is still all in Japan still. No one's gone abroad yet. And then you have Tiger, who's like the sworn brother of Majima, and he's very important because you play as him later on. And he's also looking for his sister. That's mainly the main plot of this one. You find his sister, and the sister goes through. She meets all the characters, and then as you can see in this image, this is near the very end. They all go to Millennium Tower again. And then we go to this one, which is Yakuza 5. This is a mess. I did not like this one. The story is so weird. As you can see, you play a rhythm game in the bottom right. But they do introduce you to Watase here, who's like the Omi Alliance he's like one of the main key figures. And the main plot in this one's like Omi Alliance bad. Infighting, they're moving away from the Tojo clan basically, and going to Omi Alliance. This one's really weird. I did not like Yakuza 5. It's very annoying. And as we move on, we go to Yakuza 6, which is as you can see, it's set in Hiroshima, where the nukes went off. One of them went off. And then this one, Haruka now is now older. She has a child who's Haru, and Kiryu's like, she gets into a car accident, and Kiryu's like, all right, I gotta look for the child now and find who basically the husband is or the father. And he does that, and basically, he has to fake his death, and he can't tell Haruka because she's part of it's part of a contract to hide himself and pretend to play dead, and it's very sad. Okay, so now let me just take a quick drink. All right, we're in Yakuza 7. We're in the new gen basically. This is where everything changes. So we have a new protagonist, which is Ichiban here. He's like the main guy. You don't have to worry about anybody else in the image there. Actually, maybe his father. His father's important, who's the guy in the back, and the young master, who's that guy on the right. Basically, this is the game where it basically changes everything. They change the gameplay into a more of an RPG style of Ichiban. They do that mainly with Ichiban. And basically in this one, same premise as Kiryu, he goes to jail as well. And then it's like 1999, the young master kills someone, he goes to jail, he comes out and he's like, oh, everything's changed now. It's all set in Yokohama as well, which is a different part of Japan. And basically, in this one, the main story is they're like a ragtag team of random people. Like he's like a homeless medic. He's an ex-police officer. She's part of like a different plot, if I remember. I haven't played 7 in so long. And basically, in this one, the end goal is like the end of the Yakuza. Basically, all the old guard. Basically, this image will do. You got Kiryu, you got Saejima. Watase is also here. They basically want to end the Yakuza and break the clans. Everybody's free. They all become jobless basically, and yeah, that's basically 7. And then we go 7.5. This is the perspective from Kiryu's side in 7. Basically, he appears, spoilers, at the very end, and he's like, okay, this is the side plot of Kiryu, and this is him crying. This is at the very end. It's very emotional. Number 7, Guinan, yeah. And then we go to, this is where they go abroad to America. And Danny Trejo is there as well because he voices one of the main minor villain. They go to America now because he's looking for his mum basically, Ichiban's mum. And also in this story, it's revealed that Kiryu has cancer after working at a nuclear wasteland on an island. There's also a cult there. If I remember, there's a cult bad guy. That's Ichiban's story. He fights a cult, and on Kiryu's side, he fights a Yakuza who wants to revive the Yakuza after the end of the Yakuza. Yeah, he basically says I have cancer. I'll try and find a screenshot later. Yeah.
You've had 10 minutes, Mr. Wong. Not to
Oh,
rush
thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, and then we finally go on to Yakuza, the one I'm playing. Basically, this is Majima. If you remember Majima, he's like this. He's like the Joker to Kiryu. He doesn't really appear. He appears at the end of this one, but he's like somewhere in the middle, like post like the events of Infinite Wealth. You have Yakuza, and he's like, I've got amnesia. He goes onto his island, he meets a kid, and the kid's like, hey, I want to go see the rest of the world. And then Majima's like, okay, sure. So he brings him, his dad, and the child, and he like hijacks a ship, and then he from a guy called Jack the Collector, and he's like, all right, this is now the Goromaru, and he's gonna go to the sea. He's gonna look for this treasure. The main plot is basically he wants to find this treasure called the Esperanza treasure. Basically, the Spanish had it back in the day. They found some silver coins. I haven't beaten this yet. I'm still in chapter 4. I'm doing side stuff, and so far, basically, this guy over here his name is Samoa Joe. That's his wrestler name, and he's like the main bad guy.
Samoa Joe knows he can't beat me. Sorry.
Thank you, Steiner and the Steiner Labs. And then we have two spin-off. We have the same. We have a spin-off. I would have included. Oh, what's the other one called? Oh, what's it called?
Light.
Ishin. It's not like Yagami. His name is just Yagami. I forgot his first name. It's very good, actually, Judgment. It's set in the same universe as Yakuza, but as a different protagonist. You don't do any karaoke in this one, sadly, but it's very good. You become basically a detective slash lawyer. Yeah, in the first game, there's like a medical case. If I haven't played this, I don't really remember the first Judgment game. But if I remember some like there's a doctor. I did a little bit of research. There's like a doctor. He's got like a medicine, and then you have the medicine's bad or something like that when you take it. Like you get blue eyes or something, and your eyes blow up. I don't remember. And in the second game, I remember more because it was actually really good. I really like the second game. This one, you go to a high school. There's like bullying. There's bullying, and there's a murder of like one of the ex-students, and basically, there's the most hype. There's like the most hype music at the very end, where it's the main antagonist and him, and it's like the end of the world. Where you're just fighting in like a warehouse, and as you can see, there's a rhythm game in this one. There's also a robotics club, which is very annoying to get all the parts in. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's all the RGG games so far. Thank you
Okay,
for listening to my presentation.
and is that the end of your presentation, guys?
That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening to
Okay,
my
thank
Yakuza.
you.
Is there any questions, please?
A few questions, yeah.
Yes.
Um, I suppose I've just been taking a few notes. I suppose, what happens in between? So the person in the pirate game is
Okay.
Majima, yeah?
That's Majima.
What
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
in between his appearance in the first game,
Is this
uh,
Yakuza 0?
the first game you talked about, where you first mentioned him? What happens in
Okay. Yeah.
between here and the pirate game? Where
Oh,
does he show up throughout the story?
Majima. Well, basically, he becomes more of a side character to Kiryu. As you can see him in Yakuza 0, you actually play as him. And then his story, basically, this woman here is blind, and she's like, spoilers again. Sorry if you care about Yakuza. I doubt you two are gonna play Yakuza, but yeah, she's the owner of the empty lot, and she's also blind. And he becomes interested in her, and and then he's like, yeah, I can't be with you because I'm in Yakuza, and and then he's like, okay, I'm sorry. And then in Kiwami, as you can see here, this is in the PS2 graphics. Who's voiced by? Oops, is voiced by. I remember because it's always funny. It's voiced by the guy. What's Luke's actor's name? Can you please?
Who was
Mark
this?
Hamill, right? Mark Hamill.
Mark
Yeah,
Hamill, that's
he's voiced
right.
by Mark Hamill, which is a funny thing. I like to remind people. It's funny. It's a little like he appears in Yakuza in Kiwami, and he becomes like the side character. You don't really see him much. He appears in some scenes. In this one, he defuses a bomb. That's a very funny bomb scene. This one, he comes in like a truck, like he has a truck scene. This one, he fights his brother. This one, he fights his brother again. He plays Tiger Saijima. This one, he doesn't appear at all. This one near the end. This one doesn't appear. This one near the end, and then yeah, this is Yakuza. Yeah,
That's kind of his game. Okay, one
that's
last
his
question
game. Yeah,
from me before I pass over to Miss Wheeler is
yeah.
what happens to your 10 billion yen child, I should say, from the second
Ah,
game?
the 10 billion yen.
Grows up to become a parent by the, if I've got the notes right, by the 6th game, where Kiru fakes his death to find the father of the child. Is that correct? Right.
Okay, well, basically, the 10 billion yen is all sorted in that one game. Basically,
Okay.
it's at Millennium Tower. It gets blown up. Basically, his
Okay.
brother shoots an explosive. The tower blows. Well, the tower blows up. Surprisingly, they survive.
Yeah.
Basically, his mom sacrifices herself by getting shot by basically her ex-lover, who is separate. Who's like separate at all from all this. And then she appears in the other. She appears in all the other games, apart from no, she appears at the very end of 8. But she gets kidnapped in this one. She's used as as a plot, like a plot point.
Pretty much
She
plot
gets
point, right,
kidnapped a lot.
okay.
This
And
one, she becomes like the big sister. Sorry to
what would
interrupt
you
you.
what would you say narratively her use as a plot device mostly through her lack of power says about the role of women in computer games?
Well, the women in Yakuza game, they are represented a lot better. There's a lot of representation of women in Yakuza. Of course, you have later on you have Sai. I forgot her second name, but she's a party member. She's a very good party member. She's a very good healer. Uh, it's not really count. You can
So
see here, it's not a great, not great.
no,
Honestly.
I'm not asking about the
Yeah.
representation as much as I'm saying
Oh,
what does it say about the way Yakuza games handle the issue of female empowerment. That one of the primary female characters, this $10 billion child, is used predominantly as a plot point, where her being imperiled is the driving motivation of her plot lines.
basically, it motivates Kiryu because basically he sees it's like her. It's like an adoptive daughter. Because after Kiryu, basically Kiryu loved this woman, Yumi. She gets a ring as well, and the ring's very important for Seven. Because basically he takes the ring to Hawaii, where she wanted this church, where she wanted to get married in this church. So yeah. So basically he
Right.
has like he's like got like a bind, let's say, a goal and a
Yeah,
bind to look
like
after
a
this woman,
bond,
to look after this little
emotional
girl.
bond,
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah.
a maternal bond.
Yeah. Maternal. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my questioning. Just Wheelan, do you have any questions for the
I just had the one question. Mr. Wong, it's my understanding that there is another Yakuza game which you haven't mentioned today, set in
Of course,
ancient
right.
Japan, as far as I'm aware.
That's what I said about Ishin, sir. I wanted to include Ishin, but that's not really related to the Yakuza timeline. That's more set in a different timeline, sir.
It just shares the namesake of the franchise, but it's not.
Well, it shares Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon is like the different perspective. This is like a Dragon's more of a forward focus than Yakuza. It's separate. Yakuza basically ended at like at 6. That's where Yakuza mainly ended, because
course.
this is basically the end of the Yakuza.
Well, I need to interrupt. Yes, but okay. So one last question from me, and then we'll wrap up the process of moderation. Is obviously the question we could have asked that we wanted you to answer was why Hawaii and why the most recent game you talked about was set in Hawaii. I'd like you just to, as concisely as possible, summarize an answer to that question in as few sentences as possible. Why has the main character ended up for that game ended up in Hawaii?
Well, like I said, Ichiban's mom is sated in Hawaii. He wants to find his mom. And then basically he's like, oh, she's in America. So he goes to America to find her.
Okay, that will be it for the question.
Thank you for your
Thanks.
time, Mr. Wong.
Yeah, no problem.